Hello everybody, we are going to be reacting to TBC Needs Changes by content creator called Shano, and honestly, TBC Classic or TBC Anniversary does need some changes. If you watched any videos, any YouTubers, any content creators, you know the hype for TBC is an all-time high, but TBC Classic or TBC Anniversary needs a few mild changes to make the experience better. We already have dual spec, which is a huge one, but let's see what else it really needs. So we're going to dive right into the video.
Unless you've been living under a rock, you'll know that TBC is coming again on the anniversary servers, likely at the end of this year. Recently I made a video about it which led to a lot of debates regarding TBC as a whole and what changes could be made to cement it as the greatest expansion of all time. During this time I have created a poll, and
I will say definitely the classic player base has become much more confrontational and much more reactive lately. A lot of my TBC videos have error players being really mad or really upset and just straight up angry all the time. So I am kind of happy that we are where we are right now, that the player base is starting to get a bit more together.
Taken tons of your feedback, so today we will find out what changes should we bring to TBC. Now before we start, I'd like to highlight something Ian said recently when talking about being a developer at Blizzard. He said, with a diverse community, sometimes it's literally impossible to get it right for everyone, and this definitely applies here. So
it is almost impossible to make the entire classic community happy. Between Era, Anniversary, SOD, MOP and Cataclysm, Retail, the entire community wants completely different things for each iteration, each version of the game. And as it stands right now, it's not surprising whatsoever. It's absolutely insane just what's really happened to the community in regards to disagreements with one another. And Ian has a coasters, while I might not agree with a lot of what he said, he's not wrong. It's literally impossible to get it right for everybody.
So bear that in mind. At the time of recording this video, the poll is currently at 74% of you wanting to see changes in TBC. So
I honestly thought it would have been higher. 75% seems kind of on the low end for TBC players. TBC players are the original Classic Plus players. So I'm kind of surprised, only 75%. I wonder how many votes this poll had. I would have probably guessed 80, 90% realistically.
Let's break down the most requested changes. One of the biggest complaints I've read so far about TBC is the flying mounts, specifically for the impact it has on World PvP. Rezo World says no flying, like literally that's the only thing he wants. Louis said his biggest gripe with TBC was the introduction of flying mounts, and Lazarus says flying mounts killing World PvP is a big issue for him. And then Igersly773 says all is good, but flying mounts no. So you can see here flying mounts have a lot of hate, and I remember being in exactly the same boat back in the day. World PvP was one of my favorite things to do as a kid, and I remember thinking, damn, this sucks, as people would just fly around and avoid PvP altogether. But I don't think it's the most game-breaking feature, and I'm 100% confident Blizzard would not outright remove flying mounts.
I'll be real. I think World PvP is somewhat overrated, and a lot of people don't actually enjoy World PvP, and the devs knew that, which is why they added flying mounts. I feel like the big reason flying mounts were initially even added to the game was because of the amount of people that just did not really want to deal with World PvP. And of course they want people to fly and see all the nice assets they made, but I feel like World PvP is an outdated concept, and I don't think it would make the player base happy. I think a lot more people would rather not play TBC and not enjoy the game at all, then actually have to World PvP in TBC while running around the same world map. That's at least my opinion.
It's just not going to happen. Could they implement something to fix the World PvP side of things though? It's unlikely, but it's definitely possible. Reality 5040 had a really interesting idea about only being able to mount up at Flight Masters, meaning if you dismounted out in the world, you would have to go and find a Flight Master so you could mount up again. Kind of like a stable for your mounts. And while in theory this is a decent idea, and I know there was some love for it in the comments, I don't see this ever happening. Because one, there are far too many areas in TBC which you need a flying mount to get to and to get out of. So being dismounted, you're effectively stuck. The majority of people would end up hating this, and it would take a lot of resources to implement, so I just don't see it happening. The only possible change I could see regarding flying would be that of a debuff, similar to
Will say, right off the bat, I can see the argument for the removal of flying. Flying does impact the game and the world. But just like my man Shano just said, there's no universe in which they do actually remove flying. It's just not realistic. It's just not feasible. It's just not possible. I do not see them doing that, and I do not see that actually being a thing that they're willing to really do. It could be nice in some weird alternate universe where they tweak the game so that all the places you could get to with only flying now have different ways to get there. But that's a lot of effort for an anniversary realm, and I just don't see them doing that.
The bounty debuff in retail. If you're unfamiliar, currently in retail, after you have killed a certain amount of players, you end up with a debuff which disables your flying mount altogether. The only way to get rid of the debuff is if you die or you get to a sanctuary city. And while I don't think we should get a replicated exact copy, some kind of debuff disabling flying for a certain amount of time could be a semi-fix. This would please all the PvP enjoyers, while people not interested in PvP could just use their flying mount as usual. So out of everything, I think this is the only kind of idea Blizzard would consider. What do you think though? Let me know in the comments.
That's just the war mode thing. It's the war mode system. So you just essentially, once you have that on, you're unable to really like fly off or whatever. You have, after you kill 25 people, you have a bounty on you. You just can't fly off. So I honestly think that's perfectly fine. I think it would be a solid system. People would be happy. Or just completely removing the ability to fly if you're PvP flagged. If you flag for PvP, you can't fly off for like, let's say 60 seconds. So you can't just fly off in the middle of combat. Like a druid can't just fly bomb you and then fly off. I feel like if you're in combat, you should be stuck with being unable to fly. That could really fix things.
Another hot debated topic is heroism or bloodlust and whether it should affect the whole raid. Mr. Al.
Before I hear his opinion, yes. Raid-wide bloodlust. Say to everybody, I do not want to deal with the moving shamans in and out of parties and min-maxing the party so your best DPS have constant bloodlust. Nah, hell no. Raid-wide sated. One shaman, the whole raid gets lust. End the story. That's my opinion, but let's hear what else people have to say.
Mady would like raid-wide heroism with a cooldown. Pippo Bimbo would also like raid-wide buffs including totems. Artavian2489 also mentions about not having to worry about needing 5+ shamans per raid. If you didn't know, currently in TBC, shamans, lust or heroism is only party-wide and it has no debuff. This leads to sweat stacking shamans and swapping them in and out of parties mid-fight to provide your pumpers with 100% heroism uptime. In my opinion, this is a terrible design and players are punished for not taking advantage of it.
Absolutely.
Especially when you think of logs and passes, not being in a heroism group basically means you can't compete. While I understand this makes shamans so popular in TBC and get a raid spot, I feel like when this was originally designed, players were different. And for modern day players, this needs to be raid wide with a sated debuff, meaning you can only benefit once. So this change is a no-brainer for me. Prunes the Druid agrees with me and gives excellent insight on this, making logs more competitive and not needing so many shamans.
Absolutely.
And to be honest, the only people against this are shamans themselves. And this is based on anxiety of losing raid spots, but let's be honest, shamans are still one of the best healers in the game, and I don't think the amount of shamans you take will be affected too badly.
I kind of get where the guy's coming from, that the sated debuff is just like it's a party thing, and so you can't put another shaman in that same party, but you still have to have one shaman per party. So I think that could be a nice compromise between both groups. But either way, you need the sated debuff in game. There's no universe where they play without that in TBC Anniversary.
The most important thing is that you don't necessarily need to stack so many shamans, and you can still benefit from heroism or bloodlust. I'd also like the sated debuff and bloodlust to reset after each boss kill, similar to how they did it in Wrath Classic. So yeah, honestly, I think this change should happen, and I can actually see it happening too. Let me know your thoughts down below if you agree or not. Mr. Almeida.
I don't agree with this one. The account-wide rep and attunements to make it more alt-friendly. This isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I do feel like there should be some grind to make the game evergreen. And I feel like if they just made it so once one account has it, one character, every other alt has it immediately, I think it does take away from the game a little bit. but there needs to be benefits to your ult for doing it on your main character. So I talked about this before, but they should essentially make it so once one character is exalted, every character gets 200-300% rep increase, maybe even 500% rep increase. So it's a very fast grind. Aside from that, it's a pretty solid system, and I wouldn't be upset if account-wide rep and attunements were a thing. I'd be okay with it. I just feel like it's not the best solution, in my opinion.
Would like account-wide reputations and achievements to make it more ult-friendly, and the same as Peepo Bimbo. And I've seen this comment from a bunch of people all over the internet. Achievements are a pain, I'll admit, but reputations are a huge part of TBC, and it doesn't make it ult-friendly at all. I think account-wide achievements would be a big W, and it's definitely possible for Blizzard to consider.
And welcome to the cult, G Smith. I appreciate you.
However, I'm not convinced this would happen. To be honest, even having account-wide achievements is a bit of a stretch. It really comes down to how much Blizzard want to get involved with TBC changes, but they could also buff rewards for achievements and reputations, as they have done it in the past with Wrath Classic. If you're unfamiliar, one change they made in Wrath Classic was specific quest lines or daily quests awarded emblems of heroism, and I can see them doing exactly the same thing again, but with Badge of Justice. Having this would make those grinds on ults feel a little bit more satisfying and rewarding, as it could be seen as a way to catch up, so you don't feel like it's a complete waste of time. You'll be rewarded for your time for doing the achievements with badges. I'm sure by now Blizzard is aware of the pain with achievements and reputations, and if they went ahead with the Badge of Justice edition, which I suspect they might, would you be satisfied? Is that enough? Let me know in the comments.
Chat, I'ma be real. No boosting whatsoever. Paladin boosting, mage boosting, warlock boosting, open world boosting, instance boosting, RMT swipe boosting, any and all boosting should be equivalent to a permaban. I am hands down stating this. They need to make any form of boosting permabannable. Level authentically. Now, a lot of people aren't going to like this because they are adding, and we know they're adding, a level boost. You can buy a level 58 level boost. I know they're adding that. So if they add that, then ban every other form of boosting, the hypocrisy. But any and all boosting should be banned. Leveling yourself, banned. Play a better game. But jokes aside, boosting is bad for the game's health. So I don't think boosting should be in game whatsoever.
Shadowfax77 wants boosts to be removed, and DoomRaven0 also agreed. Boosting is a bit like Marmite in WoW Classic, you either love it or you hate it. But you have to remember the majority of WoW players are in their 30s and 40s with jobs and a family. Time is precious, and if they can pay gold for boosts, they will. I'm not entirely against it, but at the same time, if they chose to ban it, I'd also be okay with that. But don't get it twisted, Blizzard will most likely be selling level 58 boosts for real money in pre-patch. If this happens, then I don't think banning boosts really matters. If you remember back in 2021, they made it so boosts were available, but only one per account. And all this meant was that the sweaty players were running 5+ accounts with tailoring cloth ults, etc. It's a big cash grab for Blizzard, and I can see them doing exactly the same thing again.
I will say, They're definitely not going to ban boosting. It would be good if they did, but it's definitely not happening. Fresh servers, I'm gonna say it. I said it before and I'll say it again. Yes, it will piss off the Night Slayer people. It'll piss off the Dreamscythe people. But you don't have to go play on the Fresh server. Let the people that want Fresh play on Fresh, and then if their server dies, they can transfer to yours. They should let people play how they want to play. Will Fresh servers die? Absolutely. We know it's going to die. And that's okay. Just let it be its thing, though. There's no problem.
Another thing I keep reading about is Fresh servers, and while I can see the appeal, especially for those playing in SOD or not playing Anniversary at all, we've been here before. Yeah,
with Wrath of the Lich King, they died in 60 days. Now, we know for a fact that these will likely die, but it doesn't have to. Blizzard handled the Wrath of the Lich King Fresh servers very, very poorly, like Sky Fury and all of them. They could do it better this time, now that they've learned. But again, I don't know if Blizzard will pull this off the right way, but they really, really should try fresh servers. Again, just my opinion.
With Wrath of the Lich King. I played on Feckle in Europe and it was so fun to begin with, but after a few months, it had severe issues and population decline. People were locked to the servers and hating their life. You see, when a fresh server launches, it's like a shiny new toy. Everyone wants to come and play with it. But after some time, the novelty wears off and they all go back to their main servers. I can see the exact same thing happening again. So I would say no to fresh servers. I know that's going to upset some of you, but honestly, I still have PTSD as a guild leader on a fresh server, and I wouldn't want to inflict that pain on anyone.
He's not wrong.
Trust me,
he's not wrong.
Fresh is not always best.
Another controversial opinion. No AQ40, no Nax Rammus. Blackwing Lair, straight into TBC pre-patch. Skip AQ and skip Nax. Take me straight to TBC pre-patch, 60-day pre-patch, and then TBC. But let's hear what Shano has to say.
Another important thing to talk about is the release pace and whether we should get era servers at the end of it. On the pace side, what we had in
and yes to era servers. Without TBC era, I'll tweak out. I don't want to go to Wrath. I'll play Wrath, but I don't want to main Wrath. But I am going to play Wrath a bit. But I want Classic Plus and I want TBC era. That's all I want. And I hope they give it to me. So let's see about the patch cadence. I do think they should be slightly longer because TBC initially was about 18 months, I think. So I think this time should be at minimum 18 months as well. Just because I think that's a sweet spot. It's not as short as a 12-month cadence, but it's not a 24-month cadence. So 18 months is a sweet spot for TBC.
2021 was about right. I would say from Karazhan to Sunwell being around 1 year would be absolutely perfect. There's no need to rush through it all, especially as we haven't played TBC in so long. According to my polls, there's roughly 24% of players entering TBC who have never played it before. So let them really enjoy the experience. This rush through everything mentality is not always the best.
I mean, I wonder how many people are coming for TBC Anniversary that are SOD players who are retail players who never got to experience TBC. Because I know there's a lot of retail players that jump to SOD. Now there's a lot of SOD players that don't want to go back to retail, but they're playing TBC Anniversary or waiting for Classic Plus. So I wonder how big that population portion really is.
And after which, I can honestly see Wrath of the Lich King servers coming. We all know it's going to happen. The anniversary servers going through the trilogy.
I don't know if we will get Wrath servers. I could honestly see it ending after TBC and going straight from TBC all the way to Classic Plus. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
Of the best 3 versions of WoW is a no-brainer. The real question is whether we should have TBC era servers, and I think we should. There's a bunch of people who are true TBC hardcore fans.
Absolutely.
And having the option to transfer or clone to a TBC era server would be great. The only
100%.
issue I have is how many versions of WoW would we have? I'd
Too many.
to think that Blizzard are working on an absolutely amazing Classic Plus version of the game, which would be dropped after the Anniversary Trilogy. If that's the case, then Classic Plus would be the new go-to game for Classic enjoyers, and any future seasonal content like SOD, etc. should be based on TBC or Wrath of the Lich King. It definitely seems like Blizzard are catering to the classic WoW community, and everyone has their own favorite version. So I can see us having TBC and Wrath of the Lich King era servers eventually. And whether MOP will go on to WoD and Legion, it's very unclear at this time, but eventually that version of the game will end, and those characters will most likely go off to retail. Let's not forget anything MOP onwards isn't really classic. Despite them calling it classic, it's not.
I will straight up say, when it comes to TBC era, yes. Wrath, no. I don't think we need another Wrath server. I don't think we need another Wrath launch. I think TBC into TBC era and Classic Plus. I feel like MOP should end as well, and instead of going to WoD, MOP should also go to Classic Plus. I feel like all roads lead to Classic Plus, and Classic Plus should be the main focus of the devs. There's way too many versions of Classic as it is. Now let's see this call to action. I'm pretty sure this is just him saying follow and subscribe to me, but I'm gonna let it play out because it was a good video.
Most discussed changes to Classic, and here's the call to action now. If you really want to see changes, comment them down below, and after some time we will look at the best changes and present them to Blizzard. If you're vocal enough about it, then the chances are it's going to happen.
That is true.
Please give a comment down below, and if you see changes that you like, give them a like as well. Finally, I just want to give a huge shout out to my members. We've almost reached 100 members in the last 3 weeks, which is absolutely amazing. Honestly, I can't thank you guys enough. Memberships are the biggest way you can support my channel. They're available for $1.99 a month, and you can get so many preparation and gold guides in return, as well as supporting my channel. So if you really want to elevate your gameplay while supporting me at the same time, please consider becoming a member. All members are truly appreciated. I love you guys. Thanks for watching this video, guys, and have a lovely day.
So that was Shano, amazing video. He's a good content creator. He's a mage content creator. He covers a lot of like news. He does a lot of mage gold guides, so definitely somebody worth following. I'll have his video linked in the description below, so go check him out and give him some love. Definitely worthy of it because this video was a really good one, and I do agree with some of the points that was shared here. If you guys like this reaction, please like and subscribe. If you hated it, understandable. Hate my second channel, then subscribe to it. Then go to my main channel and hate and subscribe to that one as well. Thank you all for watching. Ebonhard out. Peace. Adios, everybody.